I think probably one of the biggest failings of most people is not understanding how to run a business. You know, we've got a little bit of a creative streak, and I definitely did and still have, hopefully. And we take that and we build it into something really nice. But then it stops because we have no clue how to run our businesses.
Hello, Greg from Blue Market here, and welcome to BMTV. And as you can see, we've got another sofa show. It's a sofa and chair show. And we've got two of the most prominent people in the industry here today. So hello, Sue, and hello, Loretta.
Hello, Greg.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Well, for those odd people that may not know who either or both of you are, in a few seconds, starting with you, Sue, tell everybody a little bit about you and how you came to be in the industry. And
oh, wow.
I'm asking you 30 seconds. I'm asking you to compress a good number of years.
Well, 30 plus years in 30 seconds. Okay, so my name's Sue Bowler. I've been in the industry for over 30 years. I've had many different roles. I've primarily been an industry instructor, working for the Qualitex brand over years. But obviously things have changed. And recently I took the decision to concentrate full-time on BAPIA, which is the Balloon and Party Industry Alliance, which I co-own and run with my husband, John Bowler.
I've heard of him.
You have. There you go. So that's really...
You did that very well.
Oh, thank you.
You kept that really concise. Thank you, Loretta.
My pleasure.
Hello.
Hello.
So I am Loretta from Perfectly Pop Balloons, and I've been in the industry 4.5 years now, so I still feel very, 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 very new. And I am now an educator, which sounds and feels so weird to just even say out loud, but that is what I am. And I have got lots of exciting things coming up, but right now I am artist/educator.
Okay, cool. So we've got somebody that's been in the industry a long time, somebody that's been in the industry a relatively short amount of time. But you're here today. We're going to film another couple of shows.
Yep.
And there are going to be some very impressive things that are made. But I wanted to have a sit down with you both and talk about the industry from the two different perspectives of many years and not so many years. So I'm going to start with that and get your views on the industry in general. What are your views on where the industry is right now? Again, start with Sue.
Well, there's a lot happening currently in the industry, but I think if we roll back a little bit further than that, the industry has changed. It changed during COVID. Obviously, I think all industries have their moments. You have your peaks and troughs, and sometimes balloons are really, really popular, and other times they're not so popular. And I've seen, a lot like fashion. They come, they go, and different things become very exciting, and they fade away. Obviously, the introduction of organics was a huge, factor to the change of the industry, and with the pandemic, we actually saw, when we thought things would go quiet, we actually saw a reverse of that, and everything went absolutely bonkers. I mean, really crazy.
It did.
And it was great because that was a great opportunity for people who potentially weren't able to work, needed to earn a living, and had, they came into the industry. And so, it's been a very interesting few years. It's been, for me, it's been very different because obviously prior to the pandemic, I was traveling and teaching a lot around the world. But actually for me, it was really quite nice because it gave me the opportunity to reevaluate my life. And so, stopping the teaching and the traveling in that respect was actually a good decision for me, for lots of reasons. But in terms, let's go back to the industry. I mean, we know that there's been some changes with the demise of Amscam, which has, been really sad, and losing some really favourite people out of the industry. Obviously with Qualitex, what they've been going through, and just very grateful that Pioneer Europe have managed to turn that around. That's been very exciting and gratifying, because obviously I've got a lot of good friends there, and I was very concerned about them. So, I don't think the industry is going anywhere. I think it will come, it will come good, for lots of different reasons that those businesses have struggled. But But I do think the industry is flourishing. I do think that the whole party sector is flourishing in lots of ways. I mean, at BAPIA, we get to see the whole industry. It's not just about balloons at BAPIA. You know, we follow the, you know, we have face painters, we have soft play, we have people that do some really quite exciting different elements to the party industry, and all we can see is that growing.
Yeah.
So we're really very confident about the future of the industry, and, you know, with the likes of, you know, the new starts with Pioneer being Anagram and things like that, that will develop and it will get very strong. So, you know, there's lots of exciting things there. So no, I'm very confident.
I think there may be people out there that don't know that Anagram have obviously been in the industry for a very long time as well. They know the industry inside out.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's not a bad thing, really. And I've got full confidence in the industry.
Yeah.
Growing. We're starting to see growth as well. And so we came out of the pandemic. Pandemic was just bonkers,
Crazy.
as you say, bonkers. And then it came down, and now it's leveling off, and we're starting to see a very slight. It's heading in the direction that we all want it to head again. So fingers crossed. It's August 2024, by the way, everybody.
Yes.
Okay,
cool. Loretta, what about you? What are your thoughts on where the industry is?
Listening to you guys just then, I see it as I came into the industry as it was bonkers. So then I was used to that, thinking, oh, this is wonderful, this is amazing. But now it's kind of come down and then plateauing out. That feels weird for me.
Okay.
So I'm in a different boat because I've not experienced ups and downs. This is my first time experiencing this and experiencing losing some favourite people at AmScan and things like that. So I'm getting used to this kind of levelling out stage, but I still see it as such an amazing business and great industry to be in. Definitely feel that.
I think it is hard if you've come in when it's, you know, one of the peaks.
Yeah.
And you think, great, it's always going to be like all the time.
It's always going to be like this.
It's when it comes back down. And that is business.
Yeah.
You know, people
That's
do
what I know.
think
It's about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Zigzag.
Resilience is one of the key things that you've got to have to be
adaptability.
in business.
Resilience. I've just adapted to the change. And okay, what does the market want out there? And obviously now I'm educating. I'm not looking at just clients now. I'm looking at what my students might want, and I'm just learning a lot right now. A lot.
So you two have come here today. So what has happened there? What's this relationship that you've got? What's going on? What is it you want to demonstrate to everybody?
Well, it's really quite interesting because I obviously watch the industry, and it's, as we've just been talking about, seeing the industry grow and change and seeing different educators coming in, the new wave of educators. And for me, actually, Loretta's always stood out as, you know, as somebody who I could really embrace in terms of the fact that the things that Loretta does or is doing is fantastic. I'm sorry, but
That's okay.
her talent. She's very talented. She's really learnt her skill, her craft very quickly and does it well. And that impresses me a lot. And we've had this conversation a few times, and then I think Loretta would say she would like to learn from me some of the things that I've got, from my years of experience. And so we just got together and we chatted and we said, it would be really nice to do something together because we both feel that we've got a lot to offer each other equally as well as to share with other people. So we just thought it would make a really nice collaboration and just really just a bit of fun. That was what it was. But no, I mean, I've actually tried to, not copy, that's the wrong word, but use some of Loretta's ideas. And I am in awe of how she can put her designs together, and I think I just would never be able to do that. And I suppose I'm a little bit sort of like, I wish I'd thought about that years ago, but it wasn't even on the radar to create those amazing, your premium bouquets. That was, I've always erred on the side of small. That's my forte, and neat. And then suddenly Loretta comes in with these amazing pieces, which you can't help to impress somebody. So I keep thinking, I could do that. And then I go, no, I can't.
It's strange, isn't it?
Yes,
How did these not come about earlier? The raw materials have always been there.
Everything's always been there.
And we consider ourselves to be a creative industry.
I know,
Yet it's taken Loretta to come in and change. Well, maybe not just you.
No, I'm going to take that. It was me. It was me.
You brought big bouquets.
Bouquets
to the
are a
industry.
thing because of me.
No, but I mean, it's just the fact that you've...
I think that's a joke, everybody. Just FYI.
Oh, don't come at me in the comments.
No, and you know, it is all about learning from other people. I mean, we're all inspired. You know,
Yeah.
I was heavily inspired by Christopher Horn, you know, earlier on in my career, you know, and you've got, you know, there's so many people that we can credit for the inspiration. But what we do is we take that inspiration and we embrace it and develop it into our own style. So, you know, there are things that I would say are uniquely something of mine, but equally we've learnt from years and years. I mean, I've got at my studio, I've got piles and piles and piles of Images magazines, if anybody can remember those. And I still look at those and I can still get inspired from them, even though that they're 30 years old.
I want to look at them.
Oh, you can.
I'm
Honestly,
gonna look
I've
at
got,
them.
I mean, they're fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think
I've got a
I've got
pile.
Images magazines that go back to something like 1990, no, even the 80s.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I feel like I would be so
Oh,
inspired
you'd
by
love
that.
it. You would,
I
mean,
need to see this.
Some of it you'd laugh at, and other things you'd go, wow.
Yeah.
I bet you've seen things
Come
Yeah.
round.
come back round again as
Well,
well.
very interesting, yeah, because, I mean, even back in the day when I was competing at different competitions, I would always look for inspiration to what else can I do that would add something in there. And one of the things that I took from somebody who has probably was in the industry 40 years ago was fabric-coated balloons. And it's quite funny because then that had a resurgence. Like, I think probably just like maybe a few years ago, suddenly people were coating balloons in fabric and inflating them. And I just thought, yeah, that's been, you know, nobody can take credit for anything these days, I'm afraid, because somebody did it, you know, back in the day. You know, even fantasy flowers and distortion has been around forever. It's just how you take that technique and adapt it and play with it. Credit where credit's due, you know. Loretta's done some great work, and I think it's wonderful. So it's
So we wanted to work together.
we want to work together.
And I wanted to work with Sue because, well, she's Sue. And because I remember meeting her for the first time, and not many people really make an impression on me. Like, that sounded terrible. Everyone does, but I mean that I really remember something they said. Like, it went in and it stuck, right? So Sue said something to me and it made an impact because even Dan remembers it. And yeah, I've just always appreciated that. I don't even think she realised she gave me that piece of advice, which I would tell you what it is, but it's useless to anyone else. It was very specific for me. And yeah, I just loved her from then on. And I was like, oh, I wonder if she'll want to like be my friend.
You are my friend.
And then I kind of was like, like this. And I just respect what she has to say. And I know that she is so knowledgeable.
It is interesting because I think a lot of people did come into the industry when you came into the industry as well, because of being furloughed, just the opportunity, the low barriers to entry into our industry. A few bags of balloons and an inflator from Amazon,
and you're a balloonist,
and you're off. And a lot of people did that. A lot of those people have now left and gone back to work or whatever, as was always going to happen when you had to start to work for that business. When the business was plentiful, then it was easy. So obviously that's happened, but a lot of those people might not consider people like Sue and Chris Horn with that knowledge and in-depth experience to be, okay, no, I do my thing. So it's really interesting that you two are coming together and collaborating. And would you say that's a good thing for people to do?
I think collaborations are always great, to be fair, because I think that everybody has their strengths and definitely their weaknesses. And by collaborating with somebody else, whether it be on a, maybe it's a corporate event or something, rather than undertaking the project on your own and feeling completely 100% daunted by the whole experience, by sharing the experience with somebody else, you can actually, okay, it's not going to be quite as profitable as it was, but actually you could end up doing a fantastic job and get a lot more recognition for it. And, and onward going, that's great for your portfolio. So no, collaborations are really, really important. You may not find the right person to start with. And it may be that you have to try working with different people, but no, I definitely recommend that.
No, I tend to stay out of it, but I do hear things about the industry, about people saying things about other people and things not being very friendly and people getting upset and egos being bruised and all of that sort of stuff. What is your take on all of that? Obviously, we live in a social world. We live where comments are seen. Everybody can see what everybody's saying and thinking. First of all, what's your take on that?
To be fair, I suppose that's probably happened forever. But it's more obvious these days because of the fact that everything goes out on social media and people will potentially judge other people for what they're doing. My advice is don't get involved. My advice is to focus on your own business. It's something that John, my other half, is really very, very strong opinionated on. He said, look, you could spend so much time worrying about what other people are saying about you or or in competition with you or whatever. If you focus your energy on your business and do that, then it doesn't matter, and really just don't get involved. It's not worth it. So that would be my advice. I mean, don't get me wrong. You want to be part of a social thing, but just remain impartial. Just don't get involved in it.
What would you say, Loretta?
I think for me, there is like a little silver lining with the situation I was in and the reason I started, which we've spoke about here before. So I think I had to protect myself and keep my tunnel vision or blinkers, whatever you want to call it. I had to ignore the noise around me because I had to succeed. So for the first few years, I could pretend that nobody else was there. But now being an educator, I've seen a different side. And I have been in rooms and situations and then thought, okay, I know what I don't like, I know what I do like, I know what I want to be involved in, and I learn quickly. So, I choose my acquaintances carefully. And I feel like that with Sue. I met Sue very, very early on with my education journey. It was like the first thing I did. I met her on that very first day. Didn't even know I was going to meet her there. And I think because we've built nice and slowly, I have so much trust with her that I probably wouldn't be able to find everywhere. I stay out of everything if I can. If I'm accidentally involved in something or my generation, sometimes you feel like you want to stick up for yourself maybe in a situation and then you think, just let sleeping dogs lie.
That is the best.
There is a bit of that. If people are going to talk about you, let them do it. It's behind your back. You don't know. What you don't know can't hurt you. I try and live like that, but I am quite a sensitive soul. So it sometimes can affect me, but I'm very much about the mindset and very much teach that in my groups. So I try and practice what I preach.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on that.
It's just a shame because I do hear about it. I do hear about nastiness. I do hear about people saying things about other people.
And there is a lot of that.
I think everybody's a sensitive soul. I think everybody has feelings. And my opinion is not. My mother used to say to me, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And I don't know why people do it. I don't know if it's to try and build their business. And Gary Vaynerchuk, I've talked about Gary Vaynerchuk before.
I love Gary V.
Yeah, he's the best. But he says, focus on building your own tower, not tearing down other people's.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people I think that don't want to see you succeed. They really don't want to see you succeed, and it's a real shame.
But at the end of the day, if you just continue doing what you do and you do it well, they will never tear you down.
No.
And you just have to just say, this is what I do, and I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to do it to my best ability, and just carry on.
Yeah, that's why I say my silver lining was the situation I was in, because maybe if I'd have joined the industry when I did and didn't have that fire in my belly and the reason, maybe I just joined it for, this is fun. Maybe I'd have took a complete different path.
I think there's more positivity in this world and in our industry in general, and I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah.
Gary V has used the phrase that negativity weighs more than positivity. And it's the whole TripAdvisor thing, isn't it? You've got a hotel that's got 1,000 reviews. You look at the 2 1-star ones and think, oh, I'm not going there. You don't look at the 900 and whatever.
It's like that default we have in our brain, don't we? That you could all say, oh, Loretta, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. It could be one person over there. It's like, no, she's not.
Yeah.
And
and that's the one you remember.
That's the one you remember.
Exactly.
It's a default in your brain. You have to work really hard at mindset. It's not a thing that just comes over you and happens overnight. It's something you have to keep working that muscle. But it's also the same, like I said to you last time I was on the sofa, mind your own business.
Yeah.
Like, why do we care so much about what that person's doing with their business?
But if you just look at the industry and think, okay, they're all doing that, therefore I should do that.
Yeah.
We just all end up doing the same thing.
No.
And if I'd have followed that route in our business, BMTV wouldn't exist.
No.
You know, because I did
Nobody else was doing it.
Nobody else was doing it.
No.
And so it was Gary V that made me do it. He didn't make me, doesn't know me.
No, but he's very inspiring,
he's the
isn't
one
he?
that inspired me.
He's
to
very
do it.
inspiring.
That and a bloke that I sat next to at a conference.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to sell diamonds on market stalls. So he had these sort of semi-permanent market stalls, and he sold diamond jewellery on there. And yeah, he just said, Greg, you seem like a nice bloke. Because I was looking for somebody to present. Just do it yourself. And I'm like,
That's right. We spoke about this, didn't we?
And
We said you're just the best for it.
And it's just like, plus as well, I'm not going to leave.
That's exactly what we said. You're the constant.
Yeah.
You're just like that was so meant to be.
But that's the thing. You've got to look at. Don't do what everybody else is doing. We all take elements of everything. Like you say, there's nothing original, really.
No.
You've just given me a thought in my head there. You've just made me think that this is something that's probably been niggling away at me a little bit, that I do the premium bouquets and they wasn't about when I started them. They must have been about somewhere that we've just discovered, right?
No, maybe not.
Maybe not.
But I was doing the bouquets, but now they're all I see. They're everywhere. So now it's like, I start thinking.
You do.
Yeah.
You reinvent yourself.
Exactly. That's where I'm at right now. It's like, well, where am I going to take the next thing? Because everyone's now doing, and I educate them how to do them, which is great. I wanted to do that.
That's the problem with being one of the originals.
Yeah.
Because particularly in the Instagram world.
Yeah.
You will do something as soon as you put it out there.
Then everybody
It's
does
everywhere.
It. But that's not bad. That's not a bad thing.
That's what
that's the role you've taken on.
That's exactly the words that I was looking for.
And anybody who's in education has to have that passion of being able to share and be happy that people are doing what they're doing. And that should be a compliment.
Yeah, and that's
not a negative. It should be that, wow, people are recreating my design and they're making money out of it. I've done a good job.
Yeah, that you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Mm. Now you said you're an educator. You talked about mindset there.
Yep.
And I know you talk about mindset as part of your education.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you're saying that you're learning from Sue.
Yeah.
And I think that's really an important thing. You never stop learning.
No.
And I'm sure, Sue, you're learning through being part of BAPIA and learning things that you've not done before. And
like designing websites.
like that, yeah.
And learning more about social media. And absolutely.
Yeah, you get thrown into every role, don't you?
Everything.
But I think it's good to have somebody to be able to talk to and to learn
Yeah,
from.
and I asked her, do you mind that I come to you and ask you these things? I don't want to expect that she'll just answer them. If I say, oh, can I ask you your opinion on this? I check with her first. I don't want to assume that she...
But, I've got so many years' experience and I've written the blog for a good part, 12 years. I've got so much information.
How many blogs are there? Well, you looked the other
I think
night.
it was 570.
Oh, she gave us the number yesterday.
Yeah, and I've forgotten already.
It was either 70 or 80 something. There was a 7 or an 8 in there.
So there's a lot of information. And that's, for me, is having built that knowledge, that bank of knowledge. And, again, it's most of the blogs, or a lot of the blogs, were created around the need of somebody wanting to learn.
Yeah.
So, I would see a question on Facebook. Someone would say, how do I do this? Or what do I do about this? And I think, oh, okay, I can write a blog about that. And then I would do the research and put a bit of my own knowledge in there and, just create something. And it's been hugely successful.
Yeah.
And people, had a lot of feedback from that. So, I haven't completely stopped teaching. I mean, I still run a few little classes at my studio, and I'm not, it's not something, I don't want to go back out on the road again. Doesn't appeal to me. But what I do want to do is share my knowledge. So if it's through just doing small classes, whether it's working with Loretta, or whether it's, I will develop the blog. We talked about this. The blog's been on standby for almost a year.
Is it still out there visible?
Absolutely, it's still there.
So if people want to go and have a look at it,
absolutely, it's all still there. But I want to continue it and grow it, and there will be some changes to it.
Where do they go if they want to look at it?
At the moment, it's the very best balloon blog, but that will hopefully change, and we'll change it into something else. But no, it's and for me, it's really gratifying to be able to share my knowledge, because I just think what a shame. It's been all those years of experience, and I didn't want it to just stop. And this way I can continue and share it. And Loretta will grow, and her knowledge will grow, and she will be able to go out there and share some information that potentially she wouldn't have learned anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I feel really, really lucky and very grateful that she likes me enough to want to do that.
But I think that going back to the industry, I think there's more nice people than nasty people.
Definitely.
I think there's more people that want to support you. I think there's more people that, it's like a lot of people think they're competitors that are local to them. Oh, they must hate me. Oh, they're undercutting me and all of that. And it's not necessarily the case.
Not really.
And I had a conversation with somebody years and years ago talking about undercutting and pricing, and was talking about how when new people come in and undercut you, he said, no, they're not undercutting me. He said, because I've talked to them about it, he said they don't feel they can charge the same as me because of my knowledge and experience and how many years I've been doing it.
Yeah,
so it's
you hear that
almost
a lot.
like they're quite humble and they don't feel they're good enough to charge the going rate.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really interesting take on it when everybody's initial reaction actually is, oh, they're undercutting me.
There is a lot of that undercutting, but that first scenario is more of the case, definitely. But when any of the girls come through my program, pricing is the first thing we work on, and building their confidence to go, well, are your skills good enough for that price? Yes. We just need to build your confidence to go, oh, okay, I am good enough. And especially if you've had my training, I'm like, you are more than good enough. I've just taught you how to do it. Yeah. You can do it. Yeah, okay, ours will be different, but you're still doing the same technique. It might just look slightly different, but you can charge what I'm charging.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, and they do.
Yeah.
They've just needed that little bit of confidence.
So do you think that's what people get most out of your programs is confidence?
Yeah, and a lot more.
Obviously a lot more. You get the technical knowledge and everything.
They get everything. They get my whole heart. So they just learn everything. But confidence and earning their money and their mindset, those three things are my core subjects in the mastermind specifically, more than working on their techniques and stuff. Like that's secondary for me. Their well-being, their mindset and everything, I think is important for their business.
Yeah.
The skills will come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I may have asked you both this question before, I don't know. But if somebody is relatively new to the industry, what advice would you give them right here, right now, in the industry as it is? What would you advise them to be doing? Or the way of working?
I think probably one of the biggest failings of most people is not understanding how to run a business. I think a lot of us, and including me, I hold my hands up to it. We've got a little bit of a creative streak, and I definitely did and still have, hopefully. And we take that and we build it into something really nice. But then it stops because we have no clue how to run our businesses. We don't know the pricing side. We don't know the marketing side. All those things. So my honest opinion is learn everything from the skills, but also the business side, because without that, it's going to be very hard to continue your business beyond a couple of years. You can wing it for a couple of years, but once you get beyond that, then you start to see that you're not making money, you're losing money, because it takes a while to work that out, and customers are not flocking in. How do I find my customers? All those sorts of things. So learn your business skills, really important.
It is interesting because it's not just in our industry either. So we're obviously getting into other industries, and we find that it's exactly the same with them. People just, they're creative, they like to do the creative thing, but they just don't necessarily want or like to do the business thing. But if you're in business, you have to do that.
Absolutely.
It's like people who say, I don't do social media. Well, if it doesn't matter if you don't do it personally. You've got to do it for business.
You haven't got a choice.
I mean, John's always said things like, there are people that just open a shop because they fancy opening a shop, and they, fill it up with beautiful things, looks gorgeous, open the doors and nobody walks in, and they can't work. Why are people not walking in?
Exactly.
Because, you need to understand all the different things that will make people walk into your shop. It is a big thing.
Yeah, skill is not enough, and being good at doing balloons is not enough. It's everything else that goes with it. You can be the best, most skilled balloon artist, but if you know nothing on how to advertise yourself or how to work in business, I agree with everything Sue said. I've got the same advice, which is why I started my program.
There's a book called The E-Myth, E-Myth, by Michael Gerber. And if I remember rightly, it gives an example of this guy who's a baker, and he's a brilliant baker. Everybody loves everything that he does. And everybody's always saying it to him, you should open your own bakery, Yeah, you'd be great. So he opens his own bakery, and then he realizes he's still doing his 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day baking as he was before. But then after that, he's having to do his marketing, he's having to do his accounts, he's having to do everything.
Everything else.
And all of a sudden, if you work it out by the hour, he's earning half what he was earning when he was working for somebody else, being a baker. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being, a good baker or a good balloon artist. But if you want to run a business and grow the business, you need to know how to do business.
You do. You've got to understand all of the elements.
I think one of the biggest things is like, how much should somebody charge per hour, for example? How do you work that out? And it's actually something that I've worked on recently, because, people's hourly rate, they don't understand that when you're self-employed, it has to cover everything. And as a balloon artist, or anybody who runs like an event, like a party events company, you're not working all the time physically. You might be doing installations on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those are the 3 days you're being paid, but you still need Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to prepare for those. You've got to do your prep days, you've got to do your ordering, you've got to do your social media, you've got to do your quotes, you've got all these things. How do you get paid for that? So that all comes into your hourly rate that you charge on to the jobs that you do at the weekend. So it's very interesting.
And that's where it all goes wrong in pricing, because hardly anyone's got their hourly rate.
Exactly.
They go, I don't have an hourly rate. No. And that's where it all goes wrong. And then that's why they're undercharging, because they don't even think about the hourly rate. But yet you go into like a 9-to-5 job or whatever, and the hourly rate's the first thing you want to know what you're getting paid.
Exactly.
So it's really funny how they come into this industry and think, I don't need an hourly rate. It's just, the balloons cost me £10, so it's...
If I sell them for 15, I've made £5.
Exactly. But
the fact it's taking you 2 hours to do that, you're only for getting paid £2
so you're getting
an hour.
paid less than minimum, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, well less. And also, people don't consider the fact that they're not getting holiday pay, sick pay. They're not getting, national insurance contributions, and you've got to pay your own tax, and it's everything.
Okay, so the biggest advice is sort your hourly rate out. There's my one.
Sue
come up with it, but I'm going with that.
It's one of the reasons we put together the pricing tool. That was just me playing with a spreadsheet.
And it's brilliant.
Trying to get the old Qualitex costing sheet on a spreadsheet.
But they still need that hourly rate.
But you've got to choose your hourly rate.
Yeah.
And of course, people then think, okay, well, average hourly rate, £10 an hour, or whatever.
Well,
but you can't do that.
No.
You've got to charge, minimum £25 an hour,
minimum
really.
20 is what I say.
The research that I've done recently basically says you should be, as a self-employed person, you should be looking a minimum of £30 an hour to incorporate everything that we've just talked about.
Yeah.
And, but you've got to be realistic. You can't. Otherwise, you're going to, you're literally not going to make any money. You've got to make sure your profit's good,
Also, you've got to be relatively quick, because if it's taking you an hour to put together a bouquet,
Oh yeah, you
then
can't.
when you should be able to do it in 10 minutes,
Yeah.
then nobody's going to buy.
That's not your
Exactly.
client's problem, is it? That
exactly.
oh, sorry, it
Exactly.
takes me 3 hours to do
You
that.
can't charge
Exactly.
£30 an hour if you're taking,
Yeah.
if you're using a hand pump, put it that way.
Yeah.
You've got to just use your,
You have
your
to have
business brain
and
for
you
that.
also have to have the tools for the trade. You know, you've got to have good pumps because, again, that makes your work so much more professional and quick and
So going back to the advice you give somebody, it is
Hourly rate.
figure out your hourly rate and your pricing in general.
Yeah,
Your pricing.
just it's the first thing, and then like I think it's joint here, isn't it? It's the business, sort your business out, and what you just said there about the equipment. The best thing I bought was buying a really good pump. It was like don't go for the Amazon. I know it's a lot of money, but you're investing in yourself, and a lot of people are so scared to invest in themselves. I'm great at just betting on myself. I'm like, well, if I do that, then it's going to make that better and that quicker. And just best thing I did was have really good tools.
So I've got an
Like Sue
analogy
just
of that. So I used to teach people, if you're a tailor and you were using a needle and thread versus a sewing machine,
Yeah.
you know, it's the tools of the trade.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I like that. Yeah.
I like
so
that one as well. I'll take that.
That was
Gonna use that.
you can nick that one.
But seriously,
But it is true.
It
Absolutely.
is. So yeah, that would be the advice. I think our advice would be the same, but I think Sue came up with all of it.
But of course, people might see that a sewing machine costs 300 quid.
Yeah, so they
and
won't
that's the
do
profit
it.
they've got in their bank account. So it's like, oh, I don't want to spend that.
Yes, but if you've got a sewing machine, you can make 10 times the amount of items versus, and that's what happened to me. My first piece of equipment, I found that it paid for itself literally within a matter of weeks because suddenly I was doing a lot of wedding work and I was doing a lot of helium work in those days. And so I had a dual split second sizer and I could go from doing 2 or 3 jobs at a weekend, wedding week jobs, to sort of 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And have spare time.
Yeah.
Because I had the right equipment.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it's just really difficult sometimes getting people to change their mindset on that. To go, oh, that machine is £300. I can't spend that. They'd rather go for the 20 quid one. I see exactly the same, but I also see it the same with your education. Buy the best education as well, not the cheapest.
It really depends on what sort of business you want. I mean, if you want an all-round knowledge, then, you know, a good old like training course that covers everything from creating helium-filled arches and you know, I'm not trying to promote what we do, but we have a basic Mastering the Basics course at BAPIA, which does that, you know, and it's a 1-day course. So it really just lays down those foundation skills. And then from there, you can then grow into the areas that you want to grow into. But once you've got those foundation skills, it's really good because it's very good grounding. It's probably the hardest course to teach, but it's the one course that people can go away and go, right, I can do that. I know how to tie a balloon correctly. I know how to, you know, inflate foils properly. So it sounds very basic, but it's the best grounding knowledge you can get.
Yeah, and I bet everybody doesn't know all of that.
No, absolutely.
One thing I do say to my students as well, I don't know if this is good advice or not, so see what you think. I always say to them, try everything first, like when you're new. Give it all a go until you go, oh, I loved that. Because a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I should niche down. And I always say, why? Because your area you might have clients one week that want helium and then the next week they might want air-filled, and having all those different sort of product suite, like sort your product suite, and that's what I do with them. Like, yeah, we can have that down, but you don't have to niche down quite as much as I have. Mine just happened to work that way. But I think try everything because you might be really good at something that you hadn't considered.
I'm trying to say this exact thing to my daughter who's 20, not about business, but about jobs.
Yeah.
She's 20. She's had 2 jobs.
Yeah, give it
it's
everything
like,
a go.
You've no idea what you're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
And then you'll come across something and it'll be like, I wish I'd have been doing this the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, because this is another thing that I found. Like, I love doing premium bouquets. I love how difficult they are. I like a challenge, right? So I find like garlands and things like that just so easy. And I don't mean that with any disrespect.
No,
For
not at
me,
all.
I'm just like, well, it's just, I like to be challenged with the work. I probably like to feel a bit frustrated so I can go, oh, how do I fix that? And I'll do it in a different way. And then I'll have people that come on my courses and be like, I loved it. But I think I've realised it's not for me. They want to do the bigger setups. So then you won't know. You think you know what you want, but you don't till you try it. Yeah. Get your hands on it. Get hands on and try everything. Try a bit of helium, even if you think you're not going to like it. You don't know that because you haven't tried it. So try everything. I think that, for me, that's advice I give.
Oh, absolutely. I think you've got to find your, as you say, find your niche and but have a good grounding because, for example, and this will happen with future shows, but I love classic balloon decor. Always have done, always will do. And I think that if you've got that mindset, that skill, you can turn that into a lot of other things. And you can take that and then add to it, which is something that Loretta and I are going to be doing. But, without those skills, you wouldn't think beyond what you've just, that sort of little bit that you know. So, learn as much as you can initially and then develop those skills. I mean,
get really good at them.
Well, it's no different to like going on to like a balloon convention, which is I've been to many, and attending lots of different classes. And I always say to people, you're never going to be able to go away and do all of it. But what you should do is you should work out what you want to try and develop on. And so you have a checklist, right? So I was on that class. I really wanted to do that. That's the first thing I'm going to do when I get home. What's next? Which do I, what am I loving? What am I not loving? Because, and you need to try it all.
Yeah.
That was always the best thing about going to conventions because you had so many opportunities over 2 or 3 days.
I think as well, your business will adapt over time. Don't think that what you start as is what you're going to finish as.
It's never going to be
because look
the
at
same.
your career and look at even your business since you started.
Yeah.
And it's
I was
the
doing
same
everything
here.
and now I do the one thing and now I hardly ever get to do that one thing.
It's the same with us. We started from home doing balloon in a box.
Yeah.
And that was it.
So did I.
Yeah,
brilliant.
But it is interesting, isn't it? And then we got a little unit. We were still doing balloon in a box. And then we started selling packets of balloons to people. And then we went into the trade side of things. The balloon market was born 14 years ago. And that's the thing that we now do. And now we're transitioning again into the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of feel I'm in a transitioning stage. And you just got to keep seeing as long as it feels good.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is where I want to go. I feel good doing this. And I couldn't have imagined educating when I first come into this. All I needed to do was make sure we weren't living on the street.
Yeah.
That was all I was doing.
So what's the future look like?
Bright.
Yeah, really good. I mean, BAPIA is great. We're going from strength to strength. We are currently very, very, very busy working on the celebration and Party Expo, known as CAP Expo, which will be happening in March next year. And if people want to know more, they can look at the BAPIA website or our socials.
So that's going to be for people in the balloon, party industry, face painting?
Yeah, so it's a free exhibition to attend. So we're just encouraging people from all different aspects of the party industry or people that may think, actually, I'd like to know more about this industry. So they may not even be in the party industry and they want to know more about how they can start a business or it could be somebody who's face painting and might think, well, I want to grow. What else can I do? And I always remember myself, and you can always just equate it from your own experience, of going to trade shows and thinking, I am looking for the next best thing for me, for my business. So whether it be for me, the very first trade show I ever went to, it was glue pens and glitter. It was seriously. And honestly, 30 years ago, I went to a trade show, discovered how you could personalise foil balloons, which was...
I remember that.
So it was a long, long time ago. And I came home from that show like $1 million and that's what I went away with, glue pen and glitters. And it transformed my business because now I could personalise balloons, which I couldn't do before.
Yeah.
So I think it's one... And there hasn't been a... unique party show for many years. There used to be one that we used to go to. There was competitions, there'd be trade show, there'd be a party. And what we're trying to do is bring that back. So we will have competitions, we will have a great party, And we'll have an amazing 2-day show where people can come, network with people. They can visit, all the different wholesalers and manufacturers from lots of different industries. There's going to be some really fun things going on as well. So, no, we're very busy. It's very exciting, and we're looking forward to it.
Cool. And Loretta?
Lots of lovely things.
You've got to say more.
I don't know. How?
No, she's not in a position to. I know.
Let me just ask my friend.
No, I think there's some things that need just a little bit more time through development. So she's not in that position.
But you're
yet.
carrying on doing your education.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
She's just visiting new heights.
I'm visiting new heights.
Okay.
I'm growing.
She's great.
And it will be fun to watch, I think, for other people.
I think it will be
To watch, yeah.
very good.
Yeah, I've got lots of plans, lots on my vision board, lots of things I would like to do, and then that's aside from some other opportunities.
So when we talk to you in a year's time and do this again, we'll be able to play this, and then you'll be able to tell us more about what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Because you'll be in a completely different place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excellent.
So I look forward to that.
Okay. Well, ladies, thank you very much.
Thank
It's been
you.
a joy to talk to you. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please do, and hit the little bell icon. You'll be notified every time we upload a new show. Stay happy. Check us out on Instagram and all of that as well. Stay happy, stay positive. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.